So Mother's Day is coming up and I thought we could do an awesome flower pot project. This is actually one I got from Michael's. It was $5, which I thought was an excellent deal. And this is a ceramic pot. It's got the hole in the middle there and everything. And I think it's just beautiful and simple. So I'm gonna start off by lightly sanding the outside, just so it's not quite as smooth and it has a little bit of grit, and then we'll clean that off. And to clean it off, I'm just gonna spray it with some isopropyl alcohol and make sure I get off any dust, dirt, fingerprints. After this point, do your best not to touch it with just your bare hands with no gloves on. Or if you do, make sure you wipe it off again. So I'm gonna set that to the side and we'll go ahead and fill up our cup. Now I'm going to be using a 14 by 14 inch canvas underneath here. So I know I need about 12 ounces of paint to cover that. I'm using all mixed media girl pouring paints, and I'm starting off with some white. And I'm just using my favorite colors here. We've got turquoise, which is turquoise. We call it turquoise. I'm going to use some Everglade green here, which is a nice deep green. A little bit of primary yellow. I'm going to use some electric lime, which will give a beautiful contrast. And lastly, I'm going to use some Malibu Sky, which is a light metallic blue. And I'm going to just layer these in my cup until I have enough paint. All right, I've got my cup filled here. Now, in order to move this pot off of the canvas, I'm going to have to raise it up on something. Otherwise, to move it, I'm going to have to grab it, and that's going to mess up the design. So I'm going to be putting it up on a stack of buckets here. These are just mixing buckets. And this is pretty heavy. So one key thing too is you want to make sure that your canvas is nice and tight. It's not at all saggy. If it is sagging at all, you can take a little bit of just plain water and you can spritz the back of it, which can really just tighten it up pretty instantly. You don't have to overdo it. It'll make it as tight as it can be. That way you won't have to worry about it sagging too much. So set our flower pot up here. There we go. Now I didn't tape off this hole. I'm going to try to avoid the bottom and really just pour around the sides. Understandably, I might still get a little bit on the bottom there, but I'm pretty much trying to avoid that as much as possible. So we shouldn't have to worry about it going into that hole. I've poured all the way around, and now I'm going to be a little more deliberate with where I pour it to make sure that I get full coverage, and this may require walking around it. Now that I've got full coverage, I can just pour however I want to get the design that I want. I know I started off with some white in the cup, so I do want that to come out here. And if you're not happy with the design, you can always go in there and add even more paint. You could pour the colors on here one at a time, which would be called a clean pour. This is called a dirty pour, where we put all the colors together in the cup, but you can do it as a clean pour. And that is really all there is to it. I'm gonna shove a little bit of this off the side here, and then I'm gonna let it just sit and drip for several minutes. This has more or less stopped dripping, so it's now time to move it off and do the canvas. So I'm going to carefully put my hands underneath and lift up on these buckets and move this off to the side. Don't stress too much if you touch the lip of your project there, because the paint's gonna keep moving, so it will cover it and you don't have to worry really about that. I'm going to push down here so that it gets filled in a little bit more, and then we're going to tilt. All right, now tilting is really just however you wish. There's not really a wrong way to do it. And we're going to see a pretty killer pattern on this piece from pouring over that flower pot. It gives it this kind of feathered look. And feel free to kind of help it along with some of the extra paint. There you have it. Gorgeous greens. We've got the Malibu sky that's peeking through there, which I think is just perfect. So we'll let these projects dry, and then I will come back and show you them when they are all finished. All right, we're back and our projects are dry. So here is the painting, and you can embellish it or leave it as is. I love it how it looks, so I'm gonna just leave it. I think it's pretty perfect. And then here we have the flower pot, and I'll go ahead and turn it around so you can see all sides. I think this is so pretty. I did kind of just lightly paint the bottom just so it kind of blended in a little bit better. But there you go. Now on the edge here, you can see it's a little bit uneven. If you want to clean it up, it's pretty easy to take a razor or an X-Acto knife or something similar and kind of just scrape it off to give you a little bit more of an even edge. If you want also, you can tape it ahead of time and then peel it off so you have kind of a nice clean line. Totally up to you. In terms of sealing this, I would recommend sealing it with resin if you can, or you can use a spray sealer, and then you're just gonna be a little bit more delicate with it. If you wanna use a spray sealer, I would recommend the Rust-Oleum Engine Enamel. That's a little more durable than just a regular spray paint. You can do several coats, and then it is good to go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this project. I think it's a great gift for Mother's Day. You could give them both as a set, or just throw a nice plant in here and give your mother that, or whatever you'd like to do. And it can be for any occasion as well. We'll see you all next time.